Hi folks, let's do a bit more. Last stream we did, what did we do last stream? I think we just, we adjusted the pointers and stuff, didn't we? Yeah, we adjusted the signposts that we did, that were pointing into the database buffer. Oh, we also set up initdb to actually initialize new database headers. So we're at the point where we just need to initialize a project if we can't find one. So this could be the shortest stream ever, or it could be a longish one. But either way, I'd like to kind of have it in a position where we can actually, where it works at least a little bit. So this thing here is going to try and access a project by index. Now, we don't have any projects at the moment, so hopefully this should fail, shouldn't it? Locate project. I guess we could actually try it, couldn't we? I think if doing init neighborhood, I think we could check the project index pointer. I think we could do this, couldn't we? And also oh right. Yeah, I need to actually move the thing out of the way. There we go, no project found, that's perfect. But now did we get we did get the code in the index initialized. So in init neighborhood, I sort of think we have got our current project, so I sort of think that we could, do we have init project? We don't have an init project. So let's do an init project. Okay, and now the init project is just going to be, I mean, I guess we could make it take the current project, couldn't we? Oh, sorry. That might be a reasonable thing to do, because I mean, in some ways it doesn't matter, because if current project is a global anyway, then even when we're looping over the actual projects, we can just set the current project to be whatever we want at the time. So maybe this isn't really necessary. So first of all, we need to locate the projects block. Right, is that right? Actually, also, it's actually a DB. Yeah, it's not even that actually. It's a DB header project, isn't it? So we sort of need to skip the block, don't we? So we need to get our pointer to the end of that block. And then, having got to the end of the block, we want to initialize a new DB header project. So we need to have our new guy there, but I think actually can't. Let's do a cast now. Now just skip. What does skip that take? It's just a void, so that's fine. And also, yeah, it is just that. So having skipped the block, we can then say yeah, I mean we do need to increment the project block count pretty much right now actually. Then write out the stuff up to the pointer. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. We do actually just need to just do this right now. So well, yeah, let's do it. Oh, hang on, it's right. So you write out that stuff there. The pointer is going to remain right where it is, which is going to be perfectly fine because that's going to be the place where we know that we're going to write the rest of the stuff. But I think here is where we want to set the file edit's position to be right here. Then we do a db we just now populate the stuff with the actual information we need. So the project ID we're going to copy from the current project. From the and that is going to be initialized to 0. And also the DB header project is right at the edit position. Now, is this right at all for starters? Yeah, it does seem to be. So shouldn't this also store the base directory? Interesting, that it only stores the base URL. I assume that's right. Actually, is it just this, actually? I think it might just be that. So init project does this. And then we return that actual DB rotator. So it doesn't like some stuff. Oh yeah, based on. So the question was, like, does this need to be there? Do we need to have it, rather? So I think the idea here is that the base dir previously was intrinsically linked to the location of the database file. But I think we need to change this. I think we probably need to have a different, like a separate. I think the base dir for the project should be. I think that's independent of the global database directory. So I think I'm going to go ahead and just add that to the project. Okay. So with a bit of luck, we just double check. So this is going to set the result project index, and the result is that now initializing the neighborhood, that's exactly what we want, isn't it? Isn't it? Yeah, the project index is the dude that contains that pointer. Right, and it's from there that we can figure out the previous next and previous next. So it's possible that this is just all you need. Type that and press enter to exit bin. Okay. Right. So there's a read of size 423 in copy string. If over of that address that. $69.39. So it doesn't like the copy string. I guess copy string no format. What's the one that we're using to copy the let's just look at the init db and see what we're using in that function. Copy string no format is the function that's using. It's a string. So let's just do that instead. And then this guy just changes. Also, what else does this take? It does take the desk size. Okay. So it's possible that some of these guys aren't set, isn't it? I guess maybe. Let's just see what happens. See what happens now. All right. So I think we've got a little bit further. So this is file directory, so it should know, shouldn't it? That it needs to create one of those guys. It's hashing these dudes. So apparently it's doing that. Oh, I see him. So for some reason it knows about Cinera __ risky.css. Okay. I mean, is this going through all of the... It might be going over all of the whole config actually. Now that I think about it. But here we go, we've got a RAM memory access HTML to buffers 5.5. Where's my cursor? So if we've got a neighborhood, and this isn't set. So yeah, I think I probably screwed up, haven't I? Because it's in the init DB, isn't it? Sorry, insert into DB. Or rather, it's the delete from DB, wasn't it? Yeah, actually, why is that? Like it's this guy here that I'm thinking of, but I'm not exactly sure why we're getting into here. Well, we're doing the synchronizing with annotations directory. So here, and this should be set. Do we just not set end this? Is that what's going on? It's not a reinsertion. So there's end this getting set. Should we just see if we get to here? This is line 7295. So and this gets set right down there. Oh, is this after HTML to buffers gets called? Yeah, it is. So I see. So it's 5515. That's unfortunate. It kind of seems like we need a way to store this stuff, doesn't it? It kind of because we don't have that thing available to us yet. It's only going to be once we get right down here that we've actually got the storage for it. So it sort of seems like the neighborhood needs to contain an actual chunk of memory. Right? So it's not a pointer, but it's an actual full-on thing. then what you do is HTML to buffers instead. That dereferences that if it's got it. But then under here, rather than saying end this, is that you actually say you actually talk about the working this. Right? Does that make sense? So here we go. If end this, we know that we're reinserting. Otherwise, we can't operate on this. So we understand the idea of not being able to work on this in that context. Sorry, is this the wrong? No, it's not in the right file. I was trying to look at get neighborhood. Oh, get neighborhood's just this guy. Right. So it only ever sets prev and next. It doesn't set this, which is okay by me. Now, having done HTML to buffers, if we're reinserting, we can reasonably use end this. But I think that we also want to say I think we want to dereference the new stuff that we just set. So it's basically the link offsets, isn't it? And the size. So it's the link offsets and the size. Where are those guys? Oh, sorry, right, it's in the entry, yeah. So, yeah, this is not going to change, probably not. Surely not. that could change actually. The output location could change. That's good at the title, honestly. Let's just say that we're just copying the size and the link offsets. I think that's reasonable. Size and link offsets. So into DB, if we're reinserting, and for all that matter, can't you just totally dereference the whole thing? Could be mistaken. This might not be the way to do it, but let's see. And then down here, what you're doing is, rather than writing out in this, you're writing out. So apparently here we're talking about writing out the entry. Maybe we'll actually scrap this in favour of using the working one. Yes, let's do that. So wherever we're using the entry, let's just use the n working this. Right, I mean, we're kind of basically doing that here, aren't we? This probably should have been set, actually, shouldn't it? So yeah, let's leave that for now. Oops. And then rather than doing that, you do and then the entry shouldn't be being used. Yeah. So let's see if that gives us anything approaching what we want. So we've got 55 on 1, 55 on 8. So let's just run it and see what the next error is. So we've got a wild pointer. Cool. And skip project 25 thingy. So what did we actually produce? We appended 81, I just saw down there. So 81 was the first one we actually append. Do we still have the metadata file sitting around? We do. So we've got index.html as well. Let's take a look at the code.metadata. How am I supposed to do this? So it's in temp Cinera test / test. So there's no assets that I can see. So somebody isn't writing out the assets, are they? Is that true? I guess we could step through. We could step through all of the cycle file instances. Right, so every time you close that file, just see what we've got. Let's try it. Yeah, so there's our assets block. I think that's just getting deleted at some point. Somebody's failing to write that out. So let's see who that is that's failing to do it. If we just continue on to the next time that happens. Yeah, so we've lost it already. Oh no, there's the assets there. So we've got code 081 in there with overlapping bitmaps .op.ces. So that's not right. Is it? collation buffers title. That sort of seems like we're writing the title into the collation buffers incorrectly, doesn't it? Oh, we're writing into a title, so let's do it. Let's do it with no format, so it's just the length we actually need. I think that'd be a bit closer to what we want. So let's actually kill this and just rerun the test with that. Oh, do I need to probably need to re-enter this directory? Assets. Had to re-enter it because we removed the directory, so the inode number will have changed. So yeah, then what we do is we continue on to the next instance of fclose. With a bit of luck, now we should see that the base file name is correct. Yeah, that's fine. Or rather the title. So now we continue. So there's our full thing, the assets there, everything. And now we've lost the assets, so what happened? Appended, so oh, it's this again, isn't it? Can we actually backtrace where we've been going here? So yeah. Insert entry. Maybe we go through add landmarks, or let's jump into here, because I think this write past assets header should be responsible for writing out past the assets header, believe it or not. So let's try it. Let's jump into 7607 and see what happens. So there's all our stuff. There's the main thing there, the various version numbers and all that kind of stuff. I assume they're all correct. Then we've got the proj, the proj 4cc. All that projects, and then we've got the asset here. So let's step on in. Is that set, I wonder? Yeah, it is. So that's 434 bytes into it. Okay. I can believe that. So we're writing out that many bytes, right? Right, that's perfect. That completely marries up with what we were experiencing earlier, 434. We were that far into the file, we're supposed to be writing that much. We did write that much, because our cursor is there. And the edit size is 0, because we don't know. How much we're adding or what. Now, I guess it's worth bearing in mind there's no assets in this thing, is there? Like, we may well have the assets dude here, the assets block. But there aren't any in it. Which is kind of interesting. Isn't it? Shouldn't there have been some assets in there before by now? And it's supposed to write past the assets header. So that's a bit busted straight off the bat. because that's not doing what I'm intending it to do. Yeah, well, we're finding out that you're not supposed to actually add assets straight off the bat. It's only when you add landmarks that you're supposed to be doing that. I mean, that's possibly the only mistake that we did. We forgot to set that pointer. Let's see if that is true. Be cool if it is. Actually, no guarantees that that is actually the case though. So, cycle signposted file. So stuff complete with the assets thingamajig. In fact, now that I look at it, since that thing was probably not set, it probably wasn't set in the right place. I mean, it's probably initialized at the start. Although, I mean, it was set to something, wasn't it? But if you look at it, this is approximately halfway through the file. So it's possible that it just, yeah, I don't know, didn't output all the stuff. So there's our stuff still. Now we want to, I mean, if we just continue again, previously we were seeing the assets we're getting lost. Ah, we've got a death. Okay, cool. So it's a read of size 4 in add landmarks. Add landmarks, look at 55 bytes to the right of this region. Refer to buffer. Cycle buffer. Cycle file. 7522. So it doesn't like the 4-byte read. Now, shouldn't that assets block count be 0? Is that not 0? Okay, so that's wrong. Yeah, you've also said that incorrectly, because the root dir is not set correctly. So that's unfortunate. Should we just try and find out where that ends up getting scrambled? I guess, how do you figure that out? I guess you just look at all the places where the assets block pointer is getting set. Can I program an assembly? No, I can't yet. No, I haven't learned assembly yet. No, the lowest I can go is C. Locate end of assets block. Yeah, maybe that could be wrong. Maybe. I mean, surely this initial one should be right, shouldn't it? Try to locate. I mean, it's possible that it's not actually. Like the locate block function could be wrong. What about yourself, Schmorcho? Can you program an assembly? I don't think we're going to get to there, but let's do it anyway. Add landmarks, assets block. So this was the one that was failing. Yeah, I mean, it's possible that this could be wrong actually, now that I think about it. Initializing an EDB header. This guy here. So let's run it and see where we get to. So let's just see first of all if this thing here is actually what we think it should be. Well, I mean, I have to come to Cinera, don't I? It's that, but I can't really dereference that. So we need to say what it is, right? That's what I'm saying, trying to do that. No symbol, block asset, DB block assets in current context. Or maybe you're saying that I just have to do it in code. Because that definitely exists, doesn't it? DB block assets. Yeah. you start learning, but it's a bit different from the traditional language. It takes more time. Yeah, as I understand it, there's no sort of like control flow built-ins, is there? Like, there's nothing like for loops, and I mean it's basically loops really. So you have to do loops yourself, don't you? So you sort of have to I think you have to like do the logic, and then say once you've done it, if the condition that you want is kind of still not met, then go back, then jump back up to where you were, as opposed to how we do it in something like C, is that you do it up at the top. And that sort of thing of writing your test at the bottom at the end of the logic is something that you have to do in TIS 100, the game TIS 100. And also, I think Shenzhen IO, you also have to do it in that as well. But yeah, like I say, I haven't done it myself, so I'm kind of guessing mostly. So what I'm programming, it's basically a website generator, really. It's called Cinera, and there's not much information on that, really. Let me show you. I can give you a link to some stuff. So yeah, it's for Handmade Hero. It's a thing that generates this page, and it also does Risky Business. I mean, for that matter, it does the guys on Handmade Network as well, actually. So you can see it on where do you go for this? Well, okay, so bitwise.handmade.network /guide, is that right? So here's Bitwise's, and there's also Risky Business Early Access. So that's at guide.risky.tv. You need to be logged in to actually access this, and you log in. You have to support via Patreon, and then you can log in. And I did this entire website here, but it's only the episode guide that's produced by this thing. So basically, the program that I'm writing here it's the thing that produces. This is a bit misleading because it's not the entire page. Handmade Network do some they sort of get the output and they screw around with it basically, but this page here is produced entirely by Cinera. So it takes like a template thing and kind of it just produces the whole stuff. And specifically what I'm doing at the moment on this program is it's kind of like so I've just made a config file format for it. So I've passed this whole config in, and now I've just upgraded the database version to handle multiple projects basically, because previously you could only handle a single project per database. So I've upgraded it to handle multiple projects, and I'm just kind of trying to debug that, trying to get it all working. Yeah, so that's basically what I'm up to here. I think I might, well, tell you what, let's continue on. Let's continue on and maybe come back to these guys, 'Cause I'd like to just see if I can see where it ever goes wrong. So I can't see it here even because it's not available to me. Personal product. It's actually professional, really, because I do this. What I do is I'm actually a video indexer, so this is just what I do. And really, there's no assets block. So that's stuck right there. Yeah, really, the config thing was it's basically the last thing that I wanted to get in before I actually go and approach more people trying to get more clients. Because I think it's having the config and allowing me to configure multiple projects at once, or indeed to allow other people to configure multiple projects. I think it just makes it more usable, really. So yeah, block ID, I presume that's right. I mean, I do have this website here. This is my own site. Currently, the only kind of publicly available information about paying for this stuff, I mean, there isn't actually. It's currently just saying coming soon, right? But I am, I do have clients that are sort of basically, I guess you can call them early adopters. So yeah, I gave them just kind of private links to stuff, and there is this pledging thing as well, for basically followers of these series who think that it's really helpful to have this stuff. They could just pledge to me there if they like. Now, init assets is right there. Let's just see if this is set. Keep it up. Oh, cheers very much. Take it easy. Thanks for checking in. So the assets block is currently. Yeah, that is the current location of that, isn't it? I wonder if that has thrown something off somehow. So init built-in assets is going to place. Yeah, again, I think we've figured that placing assets doesn't touch the database. Now, having stepped over this should definitely equal this address here, I think, shouldn't it? Yeah. And we have established that the stuff at that address, the stuff at this address is correct. Count, all that stuff looks great. So let's continue on to the next time we see the assets block. think I remember it being, it was 527, I think. I'm going to scroll back up. Unfortunately, it skips a lot before we get there. But 527C is where that was. And 527C is where that is. Now, set sample offset. Do we have an edit size here? I wonder. Do we have an edit size of 160? But where's the edit location? It's a 508. And what is the location of this guy? That is at 508. So we've performed an edit at 508. So I think is set signpost offsets. Insert entry, insert into DB. Mind you, haven't added the landmark yet, have we? So what is it? We've gone through insert into DB. Set file position. Tell you what, actually, after doing the cycle, you might actually want to reset that stuff. That might be something I want to do. Sorry. It's the file. Wait a minute. No, it's the file signpost. So it's the edit. Oops. I think that's correct. But let's continue on anyway. I think. No, actually, let's quit. So we're just going. What we're doing is we're going through all the instances of assets block pointed up being touched. Done it again. Now that I think about it, can't you just watch that variable? Alright, so this was the first time, which we couldn't actually dereference, so we couldn't know what was in that in the thing at that time. But we've got here, so let's just see. So there's a size of nothing. So the byte position is 76 but the size of nothing, so that shouldn't offset anything. Let's continue. So now we have got the assets, so we're initting the assets. So this is where we got up to. Right, so we saw that this was all okay. And then we continued into the cycle function, wasn't it? We got right into here. Now, that's a size of 160 at 508. And this person do you have the buffer? So that's not set. This is set. If the byte is greater than the byte position, so it won't be, will it? Yeah, so this shouldn't offset that pointer correctly, shouldn't it? Like it correctly won't offset it. That's now there. No, unfortunately we can't dereference this guy up here, can we? Let's just try once more. Yeah, no symbol there in current context. So how does it know? Let's just quickly look this up. I mean, I can do that, right? Yeah, no symbol of that in comic context. So yeah. Like, yeah, he just doesn't know about that. So I guess, right, at least we have this, don't we? He's saying that I need to 508. The size of the DB block assets is that size, that difference. Yeah, so now it's garbage. Might be an idea here to just give us a little dude so we can see it straight away. Yeah, I don't care. So let's try again. Oh, you're joking. Right. So here we go. Well, this is already wrong, isn't it? Isn't this already wrong? CSS directory is T. Root directory is that. Like how material. That's wrong already. Jesus Christ. What am I missing here? Assets well deployed. So let's do another one of these up at the top. And just print out the assets block at the top. Because surely that should be right, shouldn't it? You know, if you're working with the existing buffer before you freed it, surely that's fine. Unless we went completely bananas. Which isn't beyond the realms of possibility. So the block ID is that the reader is that root URL is this. CSS images and JS look perfectly fine. This is called from init neighborhood init project. So we've got that guy. So there's a byte position of 76, a size of nothing. So that's fine, isn't it? So the assets block is 76 in, apparently. Yes, that's configured it. So that's saying that it's going to put the pointer back at 76. Right. Now, we did dereference that at 76, didn't we? The size was nothing. Oh, hold on a second. What's the size of the buffer, I guess, is one question. Because I guess if that buffer size changes after we've read it back in, then we've screwed up, haven't we? Probably. Right, we should have moved that along. Yeah. Okay. So somebody isn't accumulating the size correctly. Right, this edit size ain't getting set. So init neighborhood and init project. Let's try init project. So this person here Writes into file. We set file thingy. Set file edit position. Ah. Yeah, we don't do it. That's our problem. At least that's probably one of our problems. Because basically, we're writing out, so we're taking the file, opening up to write, we're writing out just the existing stuff up to this number of bytes, and then we're going to set the file edit position to be right where we are, and then we're going to write out a project, which is a newly added thing. Having added that's the only new bit, so we need to accumulate that file edit size, and then we write out the rest of the file, and then we finally cycle the signpost to trial. So yeah, that was probably it. That was probably our problem. Project header gets something going on here. Yeah, I can buy that because we just added it, haven't we? So you want to know where this new dude is. So let's try again. Well, let's actually go to there and to here. So that's looking correct. And this isn't. What's the p-edit size? Oh shit, I lost it. Possible that somebody else isn't correctly accumulating. Doesn't that size of 430? That looks like the size of a project. Was this 70 odd? Yeah, it was. So here we go. Yeah, so this looks fine. The edit position. Ah, hang on a sec. Does this edit position have to be greater than or equal to? I reckon it does, dude. Yeah, I totally reckon that's what's going to happen. So basically, have we closed the file at this point? I think we have, yeah. So we have to reload this directory. What we've got going on here is we've just written out this stuff. We had the file used to contain Cinera up to the proj, and then it probably stopped. This code onwards probably didn't exist. Where we have code there, we now have asset. Right. What we've done is we've inserted all of this stuff, all of these lines, all of this lot before there. And what we want to do is we want to communicate to our thing that this guy's pointer, which used to be located right here, should now be moved down here. So let's say that this pointer was here, 76 bytes into the file. We insert this stuff at 76 bytes. We know that 76 bytes, if the edit point was greater than or equal to 76, then we should increment our dude. So that's our problem. Again, one of our problems. So, greater than or equal to. So that looks garbage, doesn't it? Why does that look garbage? Is that not set or something? Alright, so that's more like it. Not sure why that was exactly available to us. Because we initialize it here. Who cares? I don't know. But that's now correct there. Now, if we go into assets block pointer, so this was at 76, wasn't it? And the B location, or rather the E byte position. So what this means is where the current signpost is, which is that asset block. That's where this is 76 bytes in. Or at least that's where it was. The byte position is the position of our edit, which is at 76. So this should pass now. Well, it didn't before. So we're now incrementing the byte position. Sorry, incrementing the signpost byte of our signpost, obviously, by the size of the edit. So now I think when we get that down to here and jump over this, I think this should now hopefully reflect what's actually in there, and it does. So yeah, so that was a combination of a couple of things. It was this thing was like not doing the inclusive greater than. It wasn't doing the greater than or equal to, and also the insert into db function. When we do, well, sorry, it's init project actually. When we do init project, this thing was not accumulating that file edit size. So that was our two problems. But now, if we continue, maybe we're fine, maybe we're not. I mean, I suppose there's no harm in checking it, is there? Honestly, we can just keep looking at them. That still looks correct. That also still looks correct. Let's have a look at the file as well, actually. So we've got Cinera, we've got the proj, this, got the asset. We still don't have any assets per se, do we? We've got an entry here. So I think the next time we see this, next time we go past this, we probably should see some assets going in, I guess. see that we just appended code 81. That's it. Well, yeah, there's still no assets there. And that's because we haven't actually... Why is that? Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what this has done at this point. So we've got add landmarks. So yeah, that's interesting. We have got into here from add landmarks, but there's no, as far as I can tell, there's no assets in here. Unless I'm reading it wrong. So that's still looking okay. And we have a crash. Cool. So yeah, I think there's something wrong in the add landmarks. Like, this isn't going to go through. So update asset and DB probably isn't doing much. Yeah, here we go. So this stuff should be happening, but it doesn't seem to be happening correctly. So let's jump into where this is happening. I assume that's what's going on, because we saw that it wasn't showing up in the dude. So that looks familiar. We do have an assets block. So probably not going to have an asset, are we? Because we haven't added anyone. So the assets block counts. Locate end of assets block. Is that even doing the right thing? Yeah, I mean, I can buy that, that's doing the right thing. Wait a minute. Why is block counts? That's saying it's the block count is 1, is it? I wonder how. Yeah, why is it saying? Oh, it's because we've just incremented it, haven't we? Haven't we? Wait a minute, where are we? We're here. And we're doing locate assets, aren't we? Oh, we're doing locate end of assets block. Oh shit, there's our problem. So we've incremented the counts before doing the locate end of assets block. Bollocks. I think previously we weren't we weren't modifying stuff directly in the file, so we could get away with having like this side channel sort of incrementing of stuff. But yeah, that's a problem there. I think we're confident that this is, I don't know, let's leave it. And let's actually go back through. So the thing was here, wasn't it? It's 2931. Yeah, it was literally this this locate end of assets block. So this, now the block count, we just saw that the block count was 1. Alright, this is good. So we shouldn't do any more than this. So all we've done is we've incremented past the actual assets block dude and return that pointer, and now having done that we can increment the assets block count. Do this. Now writing out the metadata. So this assets block pointer is pointing right into the metadata file buffer. Right. So we're going to write out all the way through this thing and past the end of the assets block, essentially. So the assets block won't get moved, which is nice. The assets block pointer won't get moved. At least I don't think it should get moved. Do I? Yeah, it shouldn't, because it's after the assets block. It's not the start of it, it's after it, so it shouldn't get moved. And then we set the, so this is initializing that position. Get our new asset going. Do this. Write out the asset and accumulate the file asset edit size, the size of that asset. And now we've appended CSS asset, Cinera.css. So we close this file. Let's now have a look at it. And with a bit of luck, we should see whatever that file was, Cinera.css, in our file. Yeah, sure enough we do. So there's our asset, but there's no landmarks for it. So that's going to be the next thing that happens. I suppose it's worth checking out this. That looks okay to me. Yeah, the asset's got one of them, which is great. And then we're done. So, update neighborhood pointers. Really? Okay. We've got a new asset. Update asset DB. So here we go. We've got another one of these dudes. So I think if I just step right over this, we should end up seeing another asset pop up in the database. Oh, it's going to stop here. Okay. That's fine. Well, yeah, then Cinera topics.css has popped up. So this, yeah, that's all zeros still. So all we've done here, again, we're just adding the assets themselves. We're not adding the landmarks yet. Probably going to keep going through this, aren't we? A few times. And I think we're going over this, aren't we? So update landmarks for neighborhood. I think this is where we are. Could be wrong, but I think it is. I can backtrace it actually. Yeah, so we are in add landmarks, which is this function right here, isn't it? Well, the place where it was. And that I left that breakpoint. Right, this breakpoint here. So yeah, we're going through this loop here. That's what's going on. Let's continue until a new asset, by the way, we're going through this loop and we're setting new assets true each time. So that's perfectly fine. Let's continue on. Kill that breakpoint. See now, we've appended these assets. So we've got a bunch of new assets here. Not sure what to make of this. Does that need to be clear copy? Not sure. Might do, but let's go on. And what we're going to be doing here is we're going to add landmarks. So just call the no edit set, edit position, no edit size set. These guys are set. This isn't anything interesting. So pre this and next aren't set. Assets blockers. This makes sense because this is only the first entry that we're even inserting. So we've now got a buy position of this, and the size is currently 0. Yeah, because that gets initialized by that. And I think also we don't actually do it in the loop, do we? We only accumulate it by the actual size of the thing at the end of the day. So this looks a bit longer, doesn't it? I think. What am I looking at here? Yeah, this isn't so great. This hex editor. It's not as good as the one I previously used because it's not kind of showing up what kind of marries up with each bit. So yeah, I'm not exactly sure what I'm looking at here. It's tough to read. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe those things that are preceding these are actually just the asset offsets. So maybe it's fine. This still looks right. So at this point, I don't think there will be a new asset, will there? Yeah, because we've just gone through the, basically we've gone through the function again, but this time we haven't bothered to go through this loop because we knew about the asset. So we'll now finally get out of this function. Somewhere, whenever it happens. Free the template. Really? Was it a bespoke one? I presume it was. And then here we go. We're resetting the neighborhood, resetting the asset landmarks, and then we're inserting a new entry. So let's just continue and just see if it crashes. Oh, it does. Aha, so right. Blimey. So what line is that on? 6442. So if this, or yeah, fine. Let it fail. So link to new entry 793234 rather. So the reason this wasn't a problem before was that we were not we weren't using pointers. We weren't pointing directly to the thing. So I think now we just need to be a bit more careful about that, don't we? Like previously, the endprev thingy would have just been endprev dot. I mean, this kind of begs the question, like, shouldn't this be set? It kind of suggests actually that this isn't set. These guys aren't set. Because when we did this crash here on 7934, wherever it was, when we crashed here, we're crashing because of this, the endprev. Appended 81. The appended 82. So there should be an endprev in this case. Because I think something's not being quite set right. But let's just continue. Compression oriented programming. Yeah, let's see if we can get it to run without dying, without crashing. Also those 3s, we don't need those anymore. Print 3. I don't think we need any of this garbage. I think we're reasonably satisfied that that's working. And even if it's not, we can just stick that back in because we know how to do it. Let's see if we can run it without dying. So it's dying now on insert into DB. 7.3. It's a read of size this much. So we're loading up. We're opening out writable. We're writing out the buffer size. Take away. I think this is complete garbage. Isn't it? This should just be the entry insertion start, surely. What's this? So basically this is what this is doing, is producing the code index file. So that's full of complete nonsense. Burley, lube, why are they? Tatori, where's he getting these guys from? There's Made Hero. Oh, what's that? What's this? Ah, so there's some stuff. Cinera.ico. Okay, so there's some nonsense going on. Gosh, I wonder where all this lot actually ended up. That could have gone anywhere, couldn't it? Well, maybe not. Maybe we... I suppose I might say, like, it's going to be the buffers to HTML, isn't it? That's clearly not getting the right information that it needs. Because that needs to know where it's outputting the stuff to. How does it know that? Ah, do we just not have a collation buffers for the output location? That's probably all that we've got going wrong, isn't it? But yeah, you can see here, right, we're using entry insertion start more sensibly. But if you look down here, we're doing this whole jiggery pokery, right? Rather than doing this whole bunch of garbage, you just do that, right? And then you just do this. So I think that's more sensible. But now, let's go to the buffers to HTML. So it's taking the collation buffers. This basically needs to open up a file. Where's HTML? You've got to open up an index.html file. So it's going to have to construct the URL. Well, isn't it? The out path. So I reckon this player path ain't getting set. Generate player page, player path. It's using a base file name. Now, didn't we separate this thing out so we could actually pass? Oh, we do. So if there's an entry, it does that. The entry output location. So yeah, let's actually just change that to be not the base file name, the output location. Was that all it's used for? I guess it probably was. So that won't change anything, but construct this directory path. I guess jump into here to see what we get. What else did we change? We just changed the size of the thing, didn't we? Which wasn't really much of a deal. CGDB. Generate player page. Yeah, it's bullshit, isn't it? Test. And then a 5, so we don't want that at all. So let's just continue and just step into that construct directory path and see what it gives us. I mean, I guess go to here then, 8496. Yeah, maybe insert into DB isn't setting that entry correctly. That could be a problem. Oh wow. Yeah, it's complete garbage. So, here we go. Entry, insert into DB. What is this missing? This should be returning and this. Right, entry in DB should be here. Oh, hold on a second. The edit byte position. Set file edit position. So that's good to set the edit byte position. Let's just step into this line here. So if I'm not mistaken, that should be bytes into file. So what's going on here? You have to right, so we're setting the file edit position. The size of n working this. Like, sorry, what? The byte position. Shouldn't this byte position be bytes into file? Right? Shouldn't that be that? Because we're writing out bytes into file amount of stuff. Oh, cycle time into file. Oh shit, that's gonna be a problem. Yeah, that is busted. So we can't do that. We actually need this to be the actual bytes into file. Because yeah, we said that cycle signposted file should actually nullify. It should null out the dudes. Those the stuff that the set file edit position and the accumulate file edit size. It nulls that out. So we need a separate way of talking about that, which is no problem. So yeah, with a bit of luck, now we're actually writing out to the right locations. Yeah, but not, are we? At least as far as I can see. Right, I mean we should see in here all the directories. So here's our metadata file, which does seem to be populated with plenty of stuff. The assets there at the bottom. There's the assets. I mean, I can buy that, that's correct. But the only thing that we're not doing, apparently, is writing out the actual HTML files. So let's jump in and see why that is. So there's no, yeah, so it hasn't got the output location there. So it's, hang on a minute, it's constructed the directory path. So it needs to open that. So what is output location? Is this nothing? Yeah, it's nothing. Is that just HTML? I think that's probably HTML to thingamajig's fault, isn't it? HTML to buffers. Oh shit. HTML to buffers has to. HTML to buffers has to set the working this. It needs to set the output location for that guy, which I reckon it's not doing. Yeah, so I don't see that happening at all. So this base name here must become the entry file name, the URL player. Right, here we go. If so, we've got a thing here. It's I think it's metadata output, isn't it? And it won't be an error. Right, so I think it's right down here. We can just say, I think we can anyway. Yeah, it is the size of that guy. So and we're trying to write out the wrap zeroed HTML. Right, is that going to build? Yes, it's not. So otherwise, what we want to do is, you want to kind of get the base file name. Do we have the base file name? I think we do, don't we? Yeah. Else we just do this. I'm sure it said that it was a string, wasn't it? Didn't it? Oh, base file name L. Okay. Fine. Maybe it'd be sensible to actually just do it locally. So now, we were looking at this line 8395 or 8397. That's more like it. It's got the actual path coming through. So now we should hopefully be actually writing out the stuff. So this should have made a directory, right? Code 081. And sure enough, it's made that directory for us. Perfect. Extend that player path string with the HTML index.html. Yeah, I think we're home and dry. Famous last words. Yeah, and there's all our dudes. And there's this. And it looks kind of okay, I guess. Although, don't we have 4.2? Yeah, we do have 5.2.4. So I think the neighborhood stuff is busted. Yeah, it's totally busted. Like 5.2.2. Yeah, it can't link to the next guy. It can link to the previous one correctly, but it's not linking to the next one. So I think that's what we're going to do in the next episode. We're going to debug the next episode, dudes, because it seems to me that's our only problem at the moment. But everything else kind of seems to be working. I mean, we haven't really extensively tested it. We do need to test, like, we need to test stuff like the asset updating to make sure that's actually updating correctly. Let's do that today. It's probably get neighborhood, frankly. Probably notice. Index probably never gets set while endpref does. Investigate why. Yeah, so that's it. That's our task. And what was the other thing I was talking about? Oh yeah, the assets, testing the assets. I guess that's stuff in the notes because I don't really know where that's going to go. I mean, so we appended that. Yeah, I suppose. Hold on a second. I wonder if we have any examples of updating the topics asset. Packing template happens down there. Probably not going to have the buffer for it. Yes, okay, so appended these guys, it never has anything like updating the hash. So that's what we need to test. We need to make sure that we're updating the asset hash correctly. What do you call these guys? They're basically landmark offsets. Test the asset updating stuff to make sure that asset hashes get snapped in correctly, and there we go. Yeah, DB landmark. Well, hang on a second. It's actually the entries, isn't it? Link insertion offsets. Yeah, these are the dudes. Link offsets. I think. Really want Giants to be out already. What's your most anticipated feature? Declare anywhere, probably. So, morphic strokes, morphic functions. So, by declare anywhere, do you mean like you can just do this, like 4 int I is equal to 0? Or do you mean like you don't need to do forward declarations essentially, so you can sort of define a function down here but use it like higher up? So in other words, the compiler has to do a couple of passes to resolve it. And polymorphic struct, having a function undercalling the function. Yeah, gotcha. Right. Polymorphic functions. Polymorphism. I'm not sure I understand what polymorphism is. I see. So, kind of like a printf function can take cars and strings and handle them correctly. And what do you call them? Ints and numbers and stuff. Take or return. Multiple return variables. So I don't really know of a use for this necessarily. Maybe I do actually. Like when you return something and you also want to return an error code. So along with that. Yeah, I mean the forward declaration stuff, I would benefit from that definitely. 'Cause I've run into that stuff even like recently. Um, yeah, I mean it just felt like complete busy work really, like having to keep those guys in order. It doesn't help you to. It just doesn't help. Um, I think what so the logical extension of that is sort of everything being global, like all the all your variables being global. I don't think that helps because you lose track of the like the data flow basically. Like you lose track of how stuff flows through functions. And when you do JavaScript, when I do JavaScript, I definitely sort of feel like I don't know where everything's going. It's like everything's just global, and it's kind of tough to sort of reason about where stuff has come from. Um, but I wouldn't extend the principle to that, to having variables global. Um, but I do think that declaring functions in any order is just it's just great and helpful. So it's from Lua. And the other thing was, what was it? The polymorphism. Yeah, I think I've also encountered that as well. I think. So yeah, where I return a void star. Can I get one of these? I mean, technically, this doesn't need to be a void star. This could be, and the reason I passed it as a void star is this was because I didn't understand pointer arithmetic. So I was getting into all sorts of tangles, trying to pass this guy around. The first landmark might as well be a landmark itself. So it might as well be one of these, a DB landmark. But the thing is, a DB landmark is a different width from a void or a car, and because I didn't understand pointer arithmetic, I was just getting completely bamboozled by what's going on, like why stuff wasn't being offset as I would expect. But that could now reasonably take a landmark pointer. But wasn't it void stars? I'm not trying to look for that. There. So here we go. This could be handy if you could just say that a file signpost is going to be of a certain type. Right. And then whenever you kind of... So in these cases, right, the project header is of type. The thing that this void star is pointing to is actually of the type DB header project. The previous index of type DB entry, and the assets block is type DB block assets. Now I'm not using this type ID for anything because I just kind of know, when I see this, I know that this guy needs to be casted to the stuff. We need to cast all these dudes to that stuff. It'd be handy if you could do this sort of an idea, just sort of straight up saying a file signpost contains an arbitrary, like you say, an arbitrary data type pointer here, but when you actually access it, it's treated as like the actual type that it is. So you don't need to cast it, basically. Because I think this does happen, doesn't it? Yeah, so here, this guy here, this the neighborhood product index pointer, this actually is an actual DB product index, right? It's an actual, sorry, a DB header project. It is an actual one of those, and a pointer to that thing. But when you kind of updating it, and you kind of basically, you're not really dereferencing, but when you're setting that pointer from this, well, do you have to do that actually? Now think about it. Oh, so you don't need to do that. That's nice. Yeah, okay. Right, I take it back. So I guess it's only when you access it that you need to do that. That's kind of interesting. Where does that happen? So is that not necessary this whole time? I mean, I say this whole time. I only introduced this time. Also compile times. Oh right, of jar, yeah. Yeah, good point. So maybe that's not such a problem. That's weird though, like a pointer to something. So doesn't that mean that every time I do this, because I do it in somewhere, don't I? Like the assets block. Pretty good, I'm sure I'll do this here. So this sets it up. That is that. That's a pointer. Yeah, like what this sort of stuff here. So that's saying that is complaining about the initialization from an incompatible pointer type. I guess because this is a car, whereas the other dudes were just voids. That's probably it, actually, wasn't it? So you can initialize a type, like any pointer, from a void without casting it. I think is the rule, isn't it? Like here, this should succeed, shouldn't it? Yeah. Because this little guy here is a void star. What is going on here exactly? That's that, and then this is saying that to that as well. I guess that's fair. Yeah, let's just go through and delete these guys. Delete these casts. Delete these casts and then run it again, see what happens. Still building. This is probably getting near the end, I guess. Yeah, so now I'm not sure I'm not sure if the program will actually run a second time. Should we try it? It doesn't. So let's delete the guys. And just see if this runs to at least where we got to. Yeah, it does. So the reason it doesn't run, it's probably this function right here, initdb. It's just I think we're probably not setting the project pointer, are we? That's probably what it is. So we could probably actually hack it. This is super cheesy, right? But what I'm going to do is, I'm going to say oh, hang on a second. No, I don't want to do it up here. I want to do it here before I skip the block. And then I want to say db block project. And then put the pick hat on. I think we probably do. Sorry, it's put its header. Now, having done this, maybe this might work. This is complete garbage, by the way, because we can't guarantee that there's only one project. Let's see if it dies. It does. Okay, so it wasn't that. Doesn't matter. We can sort this out another time. Binary search and message landmark. Add landmarks. I guess the assets thing ain't set. Although we've got this here. So apparently we are setting the assets block pointed for that. If we use for pick hat for anything on squared, what kind of hat should we use for on? What does that mean? Or on to the power n? That we need to sell the hat because you lost your job. I think a warthog has got to come in there somewhere, and that means n factorial. Oh, you're joking? You can't do it. You're not allowed to do info. Oh, dude. That's unfortunate. Yeah, but still, I don't know why that should be. I don't know why that should be a whitelisted command. The factorial is not even number noted by that. It's a product of all positive integers less than or equal to that. Okay. Wow. I see. So yeah, I think one of them should be. There should definitely be a warthog in there somewhere. It's Pumba, isn't it? Pumba's a warthog. Should be a Pumba hat. So they only come in pairs. You can only look up Timon and Pumba together. Pumba, yeah. So I think one of them we need a Pumba hat. What is he at? Yeah, he's a warthog, isn't he? Yeah. Get yourself a Pumba hat, yeah. Now, it'll be a bore. Let's just see if there's any extinct relatives to the warthog. You know, like bigger dudes. Because all animals used to be bigger, didn't they? I mean, that's just true, isn't it? So it's in the family. So we do. Wild pig barbarism. What else is into the old world? So extinct genera. Well, yeah, unfortunately, these aren't going to just say. They're probably not sorted by size, are they? Unfortunately. That looks well like Timon. Pumba, rather. Why aren't pigs here? The family includes the domestic pig, okay, but they're just not pictured. So next time we just recognised. Oh right. Oh, this is a pig. Okay. Warthog. Bush pig. Babirusa. Sounds pretty cool. Deer pigs. Look at that guy. Saber-toothed tiger. Wonder if a saber-toothed tiger hat. I suppose you've also got to think about the characteristics of the actual animal themselves, don't you? Like, what kind of animal consumes a lot? Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to mull this one over. I think Pumba for one of them though. That's my vote. I think for my other votes, I'm gonna have to look into it. Goats, that's true, yeah. Ibex. Oh, he looks, or she, yeah, he looks cool. Specimens from 1800 BC. The species exhibits sexual dimorphism. The females are small with straight ones that are widely separated at the base. Asiatic ibis. Why did different areas from the Hindu Kush Mountain, Afghanistan to Sinan Mountain in Mongolia? Cylinder seals. Oh right, this guy. Cylinder seals. Oh really? Nice. Ancient world. So you get to study the ancient world, do you? Mesopotamian. Yeah. So for some reason I've looked up Mesopotamian cuneiform before. Cuneiform. You can tell because it's purple, while the other things are just blue. Don't know if that's coming through on stream. Cool. So yeah, reader size 4. We need to sort this out. Let's do a note. Test the asset updated store, make sure the hashes get snapped in correctly, and then correctly updated. Get the program running twice, basically. Get the program. running more than once, and I'm not getting back to programming at all. I'm getting out of it. We've done 3 hours. Another 3 hours. So yeah, we've done about 5 hours today. Is that right? 5 or 6 hours. And it's now 2:30. So yeah, it's definitely time for me to go and get some supper. And supper and chill. So yeah, that's your lot. Thank you very much, Heroes and Heroines, for being here, for being fantastic, and most of all, for being ancient. Until next time, farewell for now.